Hey guys, Beth Murphy here. I am teaching you today a tool that you can use for yourself, and maybe you can even teach it to other people. Now, I did not create this tool, although I may have my own way of kind of interpreting it and working with it. I'll put some information below. As I said, I didn't create it, so I like you to have that information the same as me. So, this is a tool to help you focus if something is bothering you, because everything that's bothering you is there for you to transmute it. Every time you're upset, it's a signal for you to do something. So, when you understand that you're really, really, really important, you're going to want to do this, and you're going to take note if something gets under your skin. And the more you can address these things, the less they're going to build up and the better your overall life is going to be. So you can use it for anything. And if you get really comfortable, you really might like the way you feel. And you'll see that you were living kind of a subpar life by just kind of stuffing things in or covering them up. They're just there for you to work with. That's all. The upset itself is just a little reminder that, hey, here's something that needs doing. It's not anything you have to suffer from. It's just something you have to address. That's all. So here we go. Let's address something. I'm going to use, first you have to identify something that's bugging you. So I'm going to use a real example, kind of a conglomerate of maybe things from myself and other people, but it's something I crafted because I know that you can probably relate to it. And I'm going to continue to do these because the more the body of work that you see, when you see this done over and over, then you'll be able to do it like clockwork for yourself. You'll get it right away. So today's example is, first we're identifying that feeling like, my heart sank. How come? So sometimes we have to visit people that maybe we don't really want to visit. Visit Grammy. But, I want to visit Grammy, but I feel guilty if I don't. All right. So the whole thing is just upsetting. Like, you're supposed to, but you don't want to. That's the real standout feeling. You don't want to. And the pain is the guilt you're causing yourself. So it's all uncomfortable. So we know what isn't feeling good. What would feel good. So you just reverse it. I want to feel good about visiting Grammy. Now, you may love your Grammy. And maybe your Grammy is a delight. But for many people, this could be any family member that gives you grief. Could be your mom, could be your brother, and it's his birthday. It could be anywhere that you don't want to be. And I'm just using family because that's a commonality for us. And you're going to feel that hit of guilt. But this particular Grammy, now this is the kind that complains the entire time that you're there. So you could see why it's causing drama, because they're going to moan about their aches and pains. They're going to talk behind people's backs. They're going to see the dark side of everything, and you usually get bummed out when you spend time with them. They bring your energy down. So, that's the Grammy of this story. You may have your own person you're thinking about, but so it's a problem. That's a problem. We've identified what we don't want. We see now, it's obvious what we do want. Want to feel good about visiting Grammy. So how do we get there? How do we get here from there? Well, we're going to take a little time inside of this circle here. Now, I'm not too upset about this. So I'm not going to cut this pie up very much. That's how you would kind of determine, like, if something was really grieving you. Let's say you have to deal with an ex-husband, or something's coming up that, you really have a lot of anxiety about. Then I would work with you and I'd divide up this pie a little more, because we have to be sensitive to where the person is. But this is not a terrible thing. So we'll just give ourselves 3, 2, 4, 8. We'll give ourselves 8 pieces here to work with. Now the goal is, want to feel good about visiting Grammy. Keep that in mind. This is the goal. And what we're calling this is the focus in. That's the process. Focus in. So, what is it going to take to get me to feel good about visiting Grammy? Because that's all you're doing here. Instead of forcing yourself to go see Grammy, instead of, because you want to avoid the guilt, or not seeing her and then feeling guilty, you're facing it head on. You're making the unconscious conscious, and we're dealing with this. And you're taking the time to do it. Putting it on paper is a lot different than telling yourself you're going to do it in your head. This is real. This is time intensive, and you're going to get a response appropriate to the time that you put in it. Just like energy, whatever you're doing, you're going to get out of it. So really taking the time. How do we feel good about visiting Grammy? Well, first thing I can think of, and that's how you're going to play it. What's the first thing you can think of? And then you'll see how we're going to build off of that. Very first thing I can think of is, well, she's old. And frankly, she's not going to be on Earth for much longer. She's not going to be here, all right? And now, I don't say that lightly, but it's a fact. After people get to be 90, in this case, and the thing I've got in my head, they're not. And that's the first thing that came to my mind, so that's what I wrote down. She's not going to be here forever, all right? It's pretty obvious. Okay. What's the next thing I think of? She has her moments. She has her moments when she's not crabby. And also, truthfully, now that I think about it, when I'm in a good mood, she's amusing. Because even in her crabbiness, it's kind of funny. The person that I'm thinking of, I have said about this person, she's the most positive, negative person I've ever met. Like, she's just so full of extremes. Yes, she is so negative, but then sometimes she just does these crazy things that other people don't do and finds joy in insane places by herself. And she's just a bundle of interesting contradictions. But so the point here is, she's not all crabby. And when I'm in a good mood, I actually think she's more amusing than anything. So just doing this is reminding me of that. Because as you go, and I say off the top of your head, as you go, you are increasing momentum. And you're actually raising your frequency or your vibrations. And all this means, if you don't know what I'm talking about, all this means is your viewpoint has changed. All right. I don't think you can see my paper. Your viewpoint has changed. With each plateau, you're viewing from another vantage point, a higher vantage point. So let's continue. Okay, so even when she's doing that thing that she does, I noticed that it's about how I'm taking it. So now I've found a lot of power and control in that. So how else can I feel good about visiting Grammy? She gives me stuff. That's not superficial, because she gives me homemade food items. And what that means to me is that she's thinking about me at other times. And how else can you interpret that besides love? Like, she loves me. So I'm not just visiting this crabby person. I'm visiting somebody that's bigger than that, you know? You can see, now I'm doing this in front of you, like for real. Can you see how each thought builds upon itself and it becomes lighter and more loving? So let's continue. Let's say I hit a brick wall and I couldn't think of anything else. I have a trick for you. And this is mine. I'm going to claim this because I've used this in other things. What you can do to get to the positive is actually use the negative. I had this on my practice, my doodle sheet. Trash talking. This is a tactic that you can use to turn negative into positive. You can use something negative to turn it into positive. Let's say, okay, I'm still trying to build momentum on the Grammy thing. If somebody was trashing my Grammy, saying, oh, she's awful, she never has anything good to say, or she's not worth nothing, or visit, or don't feel bad, or if somebody was just saying bad things about her, well, then I would be rushing her defense, wouldn't I? And see, I just kicked it up a notch, because now I'm thinking even more good stuff about my Grammy. Like, hey, she lived through the Depression. And to me, that makes her strong. So now when I'm hearing about, hearing her bitching about her surroundings, or her, her entire body seems to have failed her, but she's also been doing this for the last 30 years. So it's kind of hard to isolate what's real or not. But the idea isn't to digress here. So she is strong. She lived through the Depression. She's strong. And then it kind of reminds me, like, oh, what she came from. She's known things that I can't even know that she's been through. And then it puts it into a different light. And then I remember that, she raised kids and by herself and all this other stuff. So then she becomes kind of like somebody I think everybody should be admiring, and then I'm actually feeling proud to be related to her, like it's an honor. I mean, she's still around. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. Like, I'm really feeling genuine love and appreciation even. Appreciate who she is. And I'm feeling like even kind of warm and fuzzy, because I know one day I won't have her. And that's real. Like, she is special. She is loving. She is kind. She does always remember me. She's been through a lot, and she still manages to be happy. And that's really up to me. And then I remember that I have a choice of how to think about her. It's up to me. I can think about her as she's making her food gifts for us, and how she'll decorate them, and how sweet that is. It's just so sweet. And I can think about, even though she has all those pains, like, she still can be loving and kind and kind of goofy, and just the fact that she's lived for 90 years is pretty amazing. I mean, how many people are around that live that long? So I can think of, like, kind of cherishing her in that way. Cherish what she came from, because they're a dying breed, And that's going to help me enjoy her company. I almost kind of want to cry a little, can you tell? It's just because I realize how much I love her. And then now I can see that I do feel good. And now if I went over there, it's such a difference. And nothing changed. That's the most important thing. That's why you are so powerful, because it's all about where you're placing your focus. And we could do these 1,000 different topics, and you're going to find the same thing happens. You start out with some of the obvious things. I went from she's not going to be here forever, and I went to basically the same thing, like 90 years. I can cherish like what she came from, everything that she is. It doesn't sound different, but it sure feels different. You know, here I'm just stating the obvious. She's not going to be here forever. But the more and more I added more and more love. That's how I see it. With each, as I'm paying attention, I'm coming back to love. And then now you have to realize what you've done for yourself. Now you are also healthier, and you are also happier, and everything you do, even driving over there or running into some other older people on the way, you have more love and appreciation in your heart. You just made everything better. And that's why we say when you do for yourself, you're automatically making the universe better. It's not crazy. It's like a butterfly effect. You just don't see it, but it's real. This is a totally different journey from your point to not wanting to go to wanting to go, where you're also affecting other people. Not to mention you're affecting your Grammy when you get there. And then that's also what you're allowing to course through you makes patterns. So if you are always curmudgeon-y about this activity, it's not going to get any better. And that's just more dark, or the absence of light that you're adding to your life. But if you cleared it up, now you just made that light. And now it's like divine mathematics. This adds light to all the other things in your life a little bit as well. I hope you can get that, because sometimes I don't know how I'm coming off, but oh well, I gave it a shot. As we keep doing these, hopefully it'll get more refined for you, and I'll get more refined as I'm speaking it, because I never taught this, in this way. I just did it with other people, and then I kind of showed them my pie. All right. Thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions, put them below. And that's it for today. All right. Take it easy. Bye.